August feels like the end of the gardening season. You just pulled your garlic and early potatoes. Your kitchen counters are covered with heavy tomatoes waiting for the canning jars. Out in the yard, large sections of your beds sit completely bare. I watch growers abandon these empty spaces every single late summer. You look at that dry dirt and assume the soil is tired. You think the ground needs a long break until next spring. Leaving those beds empty right now costs you exactly 1/3 of your total yearly food supply. The late summer sun is merciless on unprotected dirt. Without a canopy of green leaves to shade it, the top 2 inches bake into a hard clay crust. The moisture evaporates rapidly into the dry air. Weeds immediately colonize the void and drop thousands of seeds that will haunt your garden next year. Before you even think about opening a new packet of seeds, you have to lower the soil temperature. Grab your garden hose and flood those bare garlic beds right now. Soak the ground at least 8 inches deep with cold water. The bare dirt is currently too hot for new vegetables to survive. Sowing cool weather crops into 90-degree soil is exactly like dropping them onto a warm iron skillet. The intense heat destroys the fragile proteins inside the seed casing. It happens before the seed can even push a tiny root down into the dark. The cold water physically drives the accumulated heat out of the soil profile. It creates a damp, cool microclimate under the surface where new roots can actually survive the brutal August afternoons. Now you can safely plant your second wave of greens. Spinach is perfect for this exact window. Most people just tear open the paper packet and scatter the seeds directly into the wet dirt. Then they wait 2 full weeks and wonder why nothing ever sprouted. Spinach will completely refuse to germinate if the dirt remains over 75 degrees. You have to trick the seeds before they ever touch the garden. Wrap your spinach seeds in a damp paper towel. Slide that wet towel into a plastic sandwich bag and place it in your kitchen refrigerator for 3 days. This cold treatment fakes a brief winter environment. When you pull them out of the fridge and push them into that freshly cooled garden bed, they germinate in 4 days. You get a thick, heavy harvest of tender green leaves long before the first winter frost arrives in your area. Even after you cool the soil, the August wind will try to steal the moisture right out of the top layer. Seeds planted shallowly, like lettuce and spinach, sit exactly in that danger zone. If that top half inch of soil dries out for even 2 hours during the middle of the afternoon, the germinating seed dies instantly. You cannot rely on a single deep watering in the morning. You must lightly mist the surface of the soil again at 2 in the afternoon. You're not deep watering at this point. You're just keeping the crust damp until the first green leaves break through the dirt. You are not limited to just leafy greens. Fast-growing vegetables can still yield a heavy crop. Bush beans are your best option for August. Do not plant pole beans right now. Pole beans take entirely too long to climb their trellises and set pods. Bush beans go from a dry seed to a full harvest in about 55 days. If you push those seeds 1 inch deep into the soil during the first week of August, you will pick fresh green beans in late September. You easily beat the first frost by 2 full weeks. The deeply warmed soil actually accelerates their early growth. They sprout faster now than they did when you planted them back in May. Just make sure you add a 2-inch layer of fresh compost over the bed before you plant them. Your garlic and onions pulled a heavy load of nitrogen out of the ground to form their bulbs. The compost replaces that spent fuel. This is also the exact window to start your fall carrot crop. Carrots planted in early spring often turn out bitter and woody by midsummer. The intense July heat stresses the young plant, forcing it to focus purely on survival rather than storing sweet starches. August planted carrots grow their green tops while the air is still warm, then develop their taproots as the ambient air cools down. When the autumn temperatures finally drop into the low 40s, the carrot responds to the chill by converting its stored starches into pure sugar to prevent its inner cells from freezing solid. That biological defense mechanism makes fall carrots incredibly sweet. Sow the small seeds shallowly, barely a quarter-inch deep. Lay a wooden board flat over the planted row for the first 5 days. The board traps moisture right at the surface, protecting those tiny seeds from the afternoon sun. Lift the board every single morning to check beneath it, and remove it permanently the moment you see tiny green sprouts breaking through the dirt. By late summer, the empty dirt in your garden is usually compacted and rock hard. When growers see this, their first instinct is to grab a heavy tiller and violently churn the soil to loosen it up for fall. That action destroys the soil structure. Instead of fighting the hard clay with metal tools, you need to let a plant do the work for you. Daikon radishes are the ultimate living drill bit. You push the seeds half an inch deep into the damp dirt. Over the next 60 days, the daikon drives a massive root up to 14 inches straight down into the compacted earth, naturally breaking up the hardpan. You pull a massive white root that feeds your kitchen, and you leave behind a deep hole that allows winter rain to effortlessly penetrate the subsoil without ever turning over the dirt yourself. August is also your second chance at growing difficult herbs. If you tried growing cilantro back in May, you probably watched it bolt and turn into hard white flowers by late June. Growers blame themselves, thinking they did not water the herb enough or fed it the wrong fertilizer mixture. The watering schedule was never the issue. Cilantro is biologically programmed to produce seeds the moment the daylight hours increase and the topsoil warms up. It hates the summer solstice. By planting cilantro seeds in mid-August, you reverse the environmental triggers completely. The days are getting shorter and the nights are getting cooler. Sow the seeds half an inch deep in a spot that gets afternoon shade. As the autumn approaches, the cilantro will produce thick, lush foliage for 2 full months without ever attempting to push up a flower stalk. You can harvest fresh green bunches all the way until the first hard freeze turns the ground solid. If you started broccoli or cabbage seeds indoors back in July, August is the time to move those transplants out into the garden. Most growers treat fall brassicas just like their spring tomatoes. They dig a shallow hole, drop the young plant in, and leave the long, leggy green stem exposed to the wind. That long stem acts exactly like a lever. The first strong autumn storm will snap the plant right at the soil line. You have to plant fall brassicas deep. Dig a hole 6 inches deeper than the plastic nursery pot. Strip the bottom leaves off the stem with your fingers. Bury the plant all the way up to the first set of true leaves. The buried stem will push out secondary roots, anchoring the heavy cabbage head firmly into the earth. To protect these tender transplants from the lingering August heat, stretch a piece of white shade cloth over metal hoops above the row. The white fabric reflects the intense sunlight and drops the ambient air temperature around the fragile leaves by 10 degrees. Your strawberry patch needs your attention right now. The end of summer is the exact time to renew your berry plants for next year. Growers often think spring is the only season for propagation. They wait until April to dig up old plants, wondering why their early summer harvest is so incredibly small. First-year spring-planted strawberries spend all their energy growing roots instead of making sweet berries. You need to build those root systems right now. Find the long runners shooting off your healthiest plants. Do not cut the green stems yet. Fill small 3-inch plastic pots with rich potting soil. Pin the small nodes on those runners directly into the pots while they remain attached to the mother plant. Water these small pots every single day. In 21 days, they form a tight ball of strong white roots. Snip the runner stem. You now have a perfect, free strawberry plant ready for a new bed. By next spring, it will focus entirely on flowering and producing fruit.
Look closely at your perennial plants. Rhubarb and chives often look terrible by late summer. The leaves turn yellow, the stalks get thin, and the center of the plant looks dead. People assume the plant has a severe fungal disease and try spraying it with copper fungicide. The plant is not sick at all. It is simply suffocating itself. The root crown has grown far too large for its physical space. Late summer is the best time to divide them. The soil is still warm, which helps the cut roots heal and push new growth before the ground freezes in winter. Dig up the entire crowded clump. Take a sharp, heavy steel spade and chop the root ball directly in half. Replant the halves immediately into fresh compost. Keep the crown of the plant exactly at the same depth it was growing before. Setting it even 1 inch too deep will cause the entire crown to rot in the winter rain. Water the new plants heavily to collapse any hidden air pockets around the fresh cuts. Maybe you don't want to grow another round of vegetables to eat. Maybe you just want to rest that specific bed until next year. Leaving it completely bare is still the absolute worst thing you can do. The autumn rain will wash all the remaining nutrients down below the root zone. Instead, you need to plant a cover crop. Buckwheat is an incredible tool for late summer. It germinates in just 3 days and grows 2 feet tall in 4 weeks. Its broad green leaves create a dense canopy that completely blocks the sun, smothering out any late-season weeds trying to take hold in the dirt. Its deep taproots break up the hard clay beneath the surface. Right before the white buckwheat flowers open, take a string trimmer and chop the entire plant down to the dirt. Leave all the chopped green stems right on the surface as a thick mulch layer. Over the winter, the soil biology will break down all that green material, pumping pure nitrogen and organic matter back into the ground for your spring crops.
Late summer gardening requires a complete shift in your mindset. In spring, your biggest enemy is cold, wet dirt. You wait patiently for the ground to warm up so your tiny seeds do not rot in the mud. In August, the exact opposite is true. You use the deeply warmed soil to rapidly build strong root systems, while actively fighting to protect the fragile top growth from the brutal afternoon sun. You are managing heat, not waiting for it. The rules of the game are reversed.
Don't let those empty beds turn into hard, weedy clay. Every square foot of bare dirt is a wasted opportunity to pull more fresh food out of your yard before the snow flies. Go soak those empty beds right now. Tell me in the comments down below what you are putting into your empty garlic or early potato beds this week. Hit the subscribe button so you do not miss the next video, and keep your garden working all the way through the fall.